In this video, we will be learning about light sources in computer graphics. So we will be looking at different types of light sources that we might have in computer graphics, as well as we will be looking at the attenuation property of the light and how to model that attenuation for different kinds of light sources. So to start with, we can say that a light source in computer graphics is basically some object in a scene, or probably some object, basically not necessarily which is part of a scene, some object which emits radiant energy, right? And that radiant energy will contribute some kind of lighting effect for the objects in our scene. So this kind of object which contributes towards the lighting in the scene is called as a light source. Now, to look at the classifications of light source, the very first type of light source that we are discussing about is the point light source. Now, the point light source is basically a single point light source. Basically, we can say like it's a we can give it a position in a scene, and we can say the light is coming from that position, right? And the property of this light source is, if this is a light emitting point source, then the light is emitted in all directions with equal intensity. So if we want to specify our point light source in our scene, then we will have to know the position of this light and the color of the light in the scene. So we need to know two things. If we have a point light source, to model it, we need to know two things. One is the position of that light and the color of the light. The direction is not necessary here, because the point source actually spreads the light in all directions. The next type of light source that we'll be looking at is called as infinitely distant light source. So infinitely distant light source is basically a light source which need not to be necessarily part of the scene. We can assume that this light source is at some infinite distance relative to the scene that we are modeling. For example, we can consider sun, which is way too far away from the place where we are, right? Still, our world is getting illuminated. Similarly, we can say that in computer graphics, we can have a light source which actually brings light from some infinite distance into the scene, right? Such light source is called as infinitely distant light source. Now, to model these kinds of light source, we need not to know the position of this light source, because it is assumed that it is at some infinite distance, right? So what matters here is the direction of the light. See, since let's assume this is our scene that we have modeled. Since this light source is at some infinite distance, this light source actually brings light into the scene from certain direction, right? Basically, what matters for us is the direction of the light. The position doesn't matter. So in this case, if we try to model infinitely distant light source, then what we would need is the direction of the light and the color of the light. These two things we'll have to consider. The next kind of light source is called as directional light source, or we can also say this kind of light source as a spotlight. So this directional light source is basically a light source which emits the light in certain direction, right? It basically from one position, a certain position or certain place, it emits the light in one direction, right? Because of that, it produces the effect of a beam, and this light creates, the path of the light creates a cone, basically. This light creates a cone, and whenever an object is in the direction of this light, meaning to say is in this range, then that object gets illuminated by this light. If there is an object which is out of the range of the, or is not in the direction of this light, then we do not or we need not to illuminate this light, or this object, or this object does not receive any light from this source. So now what are the things that we need to know apart from the position of the light and the direction of the light? What is that is required for us in order to model this kind of light source? So we need to know the cutoff angle, actually, or the angular limit for this cone, right? How much area? This cone could have also been covering this area, right? So we need to know some kind of angle that, or the angle that this line or the edge of this beam makes it with the axis of the cone. And that cutoff angle or the angular limit, we represent it using theta L. So apart from the position and the light, to model a spotlight, we would need to know the direction of the light as well as the cutoff angle, or we can also say the angular limit for this spotlight, called as theta L. So these are the light sources. Now you see, the light that gets emitted from sun, the intensity of the light that we receive on earth, right? The intensity of the light which gets emitted from the sun will be more, as and when it passes through several mediums and it hits us, the intensity gets reduced, right? So basically the intensity attenuation takes place. Now in order to model a realistic lighting setup in computer graphics, we need to consider this intensity attenuation also. So we can classify this intensity attenuation into two types. The first type of intensity attenuation is radial intensity attenuation. So this radial intensity attenuation is basically the example what I told with respect to sun. When the light is traversing in certain distance, as and when the distance increases from the source to the destination, the intensity attenuation takes place, and thereby the light intensity get reduced, right? The radial property comes into picture here, or the radial effect comes into picture here. Now if this example, take for example, this is the light source somewhere very far away from the scene or from this object, the tetrahedron what we have taken. It's illuminating this tetrahedron from one direction, and let us say the amount of light that this tetrahedron, or amount of intensity of this light that this tetrahedron is receiving is less comparatively if we had, a tetrahedron at this position. This tetrahedron would have received the light with more intensity comparatively, with respect to this tetrahedron. And the obvious factor that is the reason for this difference of intensity is the attenuation of the light as and when the distance increases. So we can say that this radial intensity is actually inversely proportional to the distance between the light source and the object. So when the light source and the object distance is more, the attenuation is more, and if the distance is less, the attenuation is less, right? So when we try to model this, what we will do is, this attenuation we will take it using some factor. Let us say that IL will be the intensity of the light that hits the object, right? Or that is actually being sent out by the source. Then in order to model the attenuation, what we try to do is, we try to come up with something called as the attenuation factor. Now depending on how much this attenuation factor that we use to multiply this with the intensity, we can model the light, incident light, after the attenuation, right? So let us say that there is no attenuation takes place, attenuation doesn't take place, meaning to say attenuation doesn't happen. So when attenuation doesn't happen, then the light, there is no difference in the intensity with respect to the object that receives the light, right? In that case, we can multiply it with 1. So 1 into IL will actually give us the same intensity with respect to the incident light. So we can say that there is no attenuation that took place. Now if let us say that we set the attenuation factor to somewhere around 0.6, then we can say that, and we try to multiply this with IL. So 0.6 into IL, meaning to say the 60% of this light is what the object receives, so the rest of the 40% is actually attenuated, right? So this factor is what we try to use to depict the attenuation in the intensity, right? So we can model this attenuation by the factor 1 by square of the distance between the object and the source. Let us say the distance between the object and the source is actually dl. Then I can give this attenuation by 1 by dl square. Now this attenuation factor is an ideal way to represent, or it does the job for us. However, the problem here would be that if we consider only the distance as a factor, then if the dl is, the value of the dl is large, then there would not be much of a difference, relatively with respect to the intensity attenuation the several objects would receive. Or I will put it this way. Let us say there is an object at this place and there is an object at this place. The variation in the intensity that these two objects receive will be more when compared to this object and say there is an object here, right? The variation between the light between these two objects receive, the variation in this light will be lesser comparatively to the variation these two objects receives. This will receive more intensity, this would receive less intensity. However, comparatively these two will receive somewhat similar intensity of light, right? So whenever dl is more, the effect of attenuation does not change much if we use 1 by dl square. However, if dl is smaller, the effect of attenuation will be drastic. So to overcome that, what we will do is we will try to model this attenuation as a function of inverse quadratic function, right, with respect to dl. So let us say this we take this quadratic equation a0 plus a1 d1 and a2 dl2, where these factors are actually radial attenuation factors. We can change these constant values to get appropriate amount of variation in the intensity after attenuation. So we can use this formula to model radial intensity attenuation effectively. Now let us say how we can model this radial intensity attenuation with respect to source in the infinite distance or source in the local, if the light source is local to the scene, basically like a point source, right? Now if the source is at infinity, then there will not be much of a difference with respect to the intensity. So we will assume that the intensity that it receives will be same or it remains constant. So the radial attenuation factor, we will keep it at 1. So there won't be any attenuation with respect to the light intensity that will be considered. Now if the source is local, then we will have to model this radial intensity effectively. So this object which is closer to this source should be illuminated quite brightly comparatively to the object which is far away from this light source. So for that reason, if the source is local, we would model the radial attenuation using the inverse quadratic function of the distance that we have seen so far. So this will be the function for radial intensity attenuation. Moving forward, there is another type of attenuation that we get to see called as angular intensity attenuation. Now let us say, consider this is the spotlight, and this spotlight has the cutoff angle or angular limit of theta L. Now, as I said earlier, if the light object is in the range of this theta L with respect to the axis, the theta L towards the left side or to the theta L towards the right side, then we should be able to see the object, or that light illuminates that object. If the object is away or out of the cutoff angle or outside this cutoff angle, then we should this object should not receive any light from this light source, right? So again, looking at the attenuation factor of it, if there is an object which is directly under the axis of this spotlight cone, then the intensity that this object receives would be maximum. But as and when this moves further away towards the end of the cone or towards the circumference of this spherical base of the cone, then the object in the intensity of the object that the object received decreases, right? So let's say that this is the object, and if you take the vector which is directional towards this object and the cone of the axis also as a vector, then the angle between them, let us say it as alpha. So this object is at the angle alpha with respect to the cone of the axis or direction of the spotlight that we are considering. Then if alpha is 0, that is if this object is directly under the cone, then there should be no attenuation. So the incident light, whatever will be there, the light should not be attenuated. Now as and when you move away from the cone, this factor should actually decrease, or intensity should actually decrease. So to look at that, how to model it? To model it, what we will do is we will take the cos of this angle. So how does it help? Simple. Cos of 0 is 1. So if I take cos alpha into the light intensity, so when the angle is 0, it receives 1. But if the angle moves away towards 90 degree, then the intensity that the object receives would tend towards 0. So that's the idea of using cos here. Now let's say that the unit vector along the axis, let us call it as V light. Let us say this is the unit vector along this axis, and we'll take a unit vector along this object direction with respect to the spotlight position. Then, since it's a unit vector, we can represent the dot product between these two vectors gives us the cos of angle between these two vectors, that is cos of alpha. So even if we don't know alpha, but if we know unit vectors along these two directions, then we can easily model this attenuation. Now, if the object, or let us say if the cos alpha is greater than or equal to the cos of cutoff angle, then we can say that that object is in the limits of this cone, so we will illuminate it, of course with an attenuation that is given by the cos of this angle. And if this cos alpha goes less than this cutoff angle, then we can conclude that this object is somewhere outside this spotlight and we don't have to illuminate it, and this cos alpha might tend towards 0. Or maybe we can attenuation factor, we can keep it as 0, so incident light becomes 0. So guys, now if I take alpha alone as the controlling property for the attenuation, I might tend to lose the control over it. So what I will do is I will model my angular intensity attenuation as cos of phi. Let us say in this equation I have taken as the angle is phi. So cos of phi to the power of AL, where AL is called as angular intensity attenuation exponent. Now I can vary this exponent to actually adjust the amount of intensity that I need. So I can still get to play around with how much of intensity is appropriate for me in the scene by varying this intensity attenuation exponent. Now, so overall, to model angular intensity attenuation, what we will do is, if the source is not a spotlight, then the object, the attenuation factor will be 1, right? So if the so basically the object would receive the light because if it's not a spotlight, it should be a point light source, or it should be a directional light. So both in those cases it should receive the light. So we are setting the spotlight attenuation factor to 1. Now if the object is if the cos alpha is less than cos of theta L, then we conclude that object is not in the limit of this spotlight, so attenuation becomes 100%, so we would set that attenuation factor to 0. If not, as we have seen, we will model it as dot product of the incident light, the vector, unit vector along the object and the unit vector along the axis of the cone that is produced due to the directional effect of this light, to the power of angular intensity attenuation exponent. So this is how we model angular intensity attenuation in a scene. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. I hope you guys have understood it. Thank you very much.